when you love God, you have to love everybody. That is really the best solution. It's the key for the healing consciousness. We have to do a lot of healing because we have gone so far away from God. We have committed so many mistakes. We have probably offended plenty of other living entities, both in human bodies as well as in animal bodies. We have ignored the Lord of our life entirely. So there's a good reason for us to be in such a confused state of existence. So the proposal of the Vrindavan consciousness is to learn to love the Lord of all. And in Vrindavan you love Him with every animal included, every tree, grass and creeper included. Even the sand is included. The rocks, the mountains are included. The movable and immovable, all are included in this Vrindavan consciousness. What to speak of your fellow human beings? When we love God, we have to understand who is God. Because in order to learn how to love Him, you have to get an idea who is He. Then first you learn that He's everything. Brahman. And then you learn that He is in everybody's heart. Which means He cares for each and every one of us. He's also in the heart of the dog and the camel and the elephant. He's even in the heart of the mosquito. Sometimes it becomes a little bit difficult to understand all this. How God can be in the heart of every little ant crawling around. But if He would not be in the heart, that little living entity would not be moving and would not be longing. You see, one of the features of a living individual is his longing, his craving, which in the material world becomes very sensual and material, but which has in its root cause a very strong spiritual longing, just like the longing for affection. There is no real physical need for affection, to be caressed, to be to be talked to with sweet words. But we all have a longing for that. Somebody speaks very softly and lovingly with us. We feel so good. If somebody touches us with the well-wisher spirit, we feel very fortunate. Why? What is the need of it? It is the sense of each and everyone's search for love which brings about this longing. And it is clearly indicative that the soul actually longs or is in need for love. This love which we are so needy for, so anxious, is the love for God. It's not a love for a body. It is not sexual. It is actually a need of the soul to be in a positive environment where you are appreciated and where you appreciate. Lord Krishna makes sure everybody gets some of it. You see him caressing the cows, playing with the monkeys, instructing the parrots. You see him rolling on the ground with the cowherd boys and dancing with the gopis, and wrapped in the arms of Mother Yashoda. He's her little darling boy. Everybody's getting Krishna's affection. This affection is so important because Lord Krishna is the Lord of love. He is the origin of all love. But he does make a very clear point. Because I'm situated in the heart of everyone, you want to love me, you ought to love everyone. So he is helping us to reach a universal love consciousness while simultaneously developing our affection for him more and more. When you reach Krishna, Prabhupada said, all benefits are included. There's nothing more to be obtained after you obtain Krishna. And there's nothing more to be known when you know Lord Krishna. He's the all in all. Because he don't exclude anybody. He's all inclusive. To that degree of an extreme that you can hardly conceive of, hardly can reach up to the mark. But as Lord Krishna says himself in the Gita, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me. What a beautiful spiritual enlightenment. By that shloka again, alone, you can survive for the rest of your life. For one who sees me everywhere, sees everything in me, I am never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me. Because when you see Krishna everywhere, you just can't go on being obnoxious. You ought to become the most cultured, the most loving, the most caring, the most considerate of all beings. Because if my Lord is in the heart of others and in my heart, I have to act in such a way so that the others will be benefited by my activities, that at least they can be appreciative of my positive intentions. Or, even more, then we come to the third stage of God realization, which is Bhagavan. Brahmeti, paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti sabdyate. That is, that there is a land of love. It's not called Russia, and it's not called Peru. There is a land of love, and that is called Goloka Vrindavan. And that land of love is the land we want to reach. We don't want to be tourists in the world of misery. Just like one of my godbrothers, he once wrote a drama. He called it Reality Tours. And people said, yes, I want to see reality. I want to take that tour. You know, there's a lot of tourism going on in this world. So he said, I'm offering reality tours. So what are the different places you visit on reality? Well, one was St. Quentin's death row. The other was the cancer ward in a hospital. The third one was a mental hospital where the very sick, or the most unfortunate of the sick reach, and like this, just after an accident, and so in this reality tour, and everybody who went on the reality tour, of course this is a drama, no? Everybody went on this reality tour, they couldn't bear it, they couldn't stand it, they started vomiting. They said, no, take me out of the reality. I want to go to the tour of illusion, please. Take me on the illusion tour. I can't bear it with this reality anymore. So, you can see, the material existence, doesn't matter which country you go in this world, always have a lot of that reality. Even though people try to cover it up, which does not work too well always, but at least they make an attempt of cover-up of reality. So, Goloka Vrindavan is not like that. Goloka Vrindavan is the place of love, where the Lord of love lives, where He is helping each and everyone to achieve the maximum degree of affection. You see, Goloka Vrindavan is the place where each and every soul lives for Krishna, by Krishna's grace, and in Krishna's sweet, loving environment. We can hardly believe it. We think, what? You mean there's no reality of this style as we know here? No, there is not. There's no need for it. Why? Because it is the world where there is no egotism. All the ugly realities are created by the egotism in its diverse varieties. And that is quite easy to understand. It is so easy to understand that the egotism in this world is the root cause of all the sufferings. Because we give trouble, the root cause of our sufferings is because we are having encounter with egotism. Egotism is so bad, it creates even divorce. By egotism, people think, oh, we don't want to live with each other anymore. The children, well, they see what they do now. They're in the despair. You know the story, I don't have to describe it. It's by ego. By the incredible, horrible, demoniac ego, we destroy anything and everything. It's amazing, isn't it? But there's so much misery in this material world. Uncountable amounts of misery created by egotism. Noticeable. So in Goloka Vrindavan there is no egotism. There is only Krishna prema, Krishna love. And everyone is your guru there. Not only your Diksha guru, everyone is your guru there. Once Srila Maharaj was describing Goloka Vrindavan, he said, you cannot walk on your feet there. You have to walk on your head. Because everything is sacred, more high than you. Even the dust you're walking on. There is such an incredible appreciation to everything, to every flower, to every atom, to every dust, to every ray of light, to every drop of water. Everywhere you see Krishna in an intensive way, or you see it connected to how to please Krishna. And pleasing Krishna means pleasing his devotees. If I don't please his devotees, then what is my love for Krishna? And this spirit is so sweet. It really changes the material world into the spiritual world. If you have that consciousness here, then you are already in Vrindavan. Yes, why not? Why do you have to go another place to love everybody? Why do you have to go away from others to love others? Does it make any sense? If you're here with the others, then you can already love them. You're already with Krishna's diverse forms. And what to speak here, the Vaishnavas? You meet so many Vaishnavas. You can love them. And don't only love your god brothers, come on. Love everybody. Love everybody. What does it mean, love everybody? Well, it means you can't run around with your big false ego. You can't be arrogant. Krishna is utmostly sensitive with each and every living entity. He pleases the desires of everyone. Actually, if you look upon Krishna's creation, it is just amazing. He's pleasing you to get your food, and he's pleasing the mosquito also to get his little bite. Everybody is getting in the Lord's creation what they need. We are being supplied since we were born until we die in the most marvelous way. And how wonderful. I mean, just like if you consider the taste. Tasting is such an incredible thing, because when your taste buds are feeling that satisfaction of some delicious food, you know, the tongue is very powerful, no? The tongue transmits such a sensation of satisfaction to the whole existence, announcing nourishment to every atom of your body, then you feel very pleased and you say, oh, who cooked so wonderful? Who was that? So just by a little salt and sugar compared or mixed into certain ingredients, you get kind of ecstatic. You feel, wow, wonderful. But this is all the grace of God, because you had so much desire to satisfy your tongue, then you got this. Here it is. Taste it, touch it, smell it, watch it, listen to it. Everything you want to see, everything you want to have, you can have it for a moment. Because in the next moment it's going to be gone again. And only thing left is some kind of a shallow memory, which isn't quite enough for rejoicing. So therefore, you go again after the search for sense gratification. Again, you try to get this or that or more or double dosed or this or that until you can't take any more. Then you get indigestion or some other kind of ailment, because you have tried to enjoy more than the appropriate portion. Now, the indicative aspect of this is that you should really search for the higher taste. But if you don't, then the material world will supply you more and more lower tastes. As many as you want. What is it what you want? How many lower tastes you need? Tell me. Sometimes you're eating from a golden plate the most delicious cashew burfi and who knows what not. And the next life you're eating with great enthusiasm the stool which lies in the street. And then somebody wants to take the hog away. Poor hog, come here and eat this halva. But the hog will say, I want stool, I want stool. My tongue delights in stool. If you ever seen how the hogs behave when they're fed, this incredible enthusiasm they show for eating anything they throw to them, you can see there ain't much difference between the pleasure you feel when you get something nice to eat. All this is the incredible variety of Lord Krishna's supplying each and every one what we are aspiring for. The same with all the other sensual experience, sex life, sleeping. Everybody is so much into sleeping. Sometimes you see a dog sleep next to the road where cars are running full speed. You think, how this little animal can sleep here, It's an impossible place. And you see a monkey sleeping. You see everybody's into sleeping. Cows, camels, elephants, they're all dozing off. And we are the sophisticated human beings with our water beds and our big cushions and things. Now sleep like a queen. And we really try to get the most out of sleep. As if sleep had anything to offer which really will give you an ongoing improvement on your life. Well, it's obviously a necessity to get through a resting period, once again Krishna's perfect creation. But we worship eating, we worship sleeping, we worship sex, we worship our musicians, we worship the smells produced by the different companies of the perfumes. We worship the sensual experience, but we do not worship the Lord who has given all this. The one who has supplied with this. No. We worship humanism. We worship family. But we do not worship the Lord of love. We are always remaining with the lower taste, when the higher taste is so closely available. So when you start learning about Lord Krishna's incredible love for all of us, yes, then you definitely will understand that loving Him is the highest necessity for each and everyone's individual evolution. Because it's only Him who can include everybody. If I love my president of my country, it will not take place. If I love my wife, it will not take place. If I love my kids, it will not take place. But if I love Krishna, it definitely must take place. Because Krishna will not allow you to go below His standards. Because He is the one situated in everyone's heart. He is the one who gives meaning to our life. If you do not belong to God, then to whom do you belong? Who has created you? And if you belong to God, then what about all the others? Do they not belong to God as well? And if they also belong to God, then what is your relationship with them? What is your... we can have very nice relationships, very fulfilling relationships, and we can have very harsh relationships, horrible relationships. It is all included in the same package. But when you love Krishna, then you must immediately appreciate how much longing for love is there in everyone, not only in you. As a matter of fact, love means it must be between 2 or more. It can't be less. You cannot say, oh yeah, I love the world. I love, but I don't love any particular. That's a complete useless proposal. Huh? I love the air, but I don't love the people walking around in it and breathing it. Something like that. So, our spiritual consciousness is of such a maximum necessity, maximum degree of necessity, that we should understand that the Lord of Love, Sri Krishna, our best friend and teacher as well, because he's a very kind and thorough teacher. You see, Lord Krishna, so much he teaches us with great care and caution that he is actually making sure that we can understand everything. You see, let's look about Lord Krishna's teachings. What are they all about? Of course, we know the Bhagavad Gita, which in itself is just so vast and satisfactory that you find any requirement fulfilled as far as responsible relationships is concerned, and as far as understanding that love is the number one consideration. But beyond the Gita, we find the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is an entire book of 18,000 verses dedicated to explain the need and the opulence of love. From the very beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, it was the Lord who within the heart of Brahma enlightened him in the science of love. And then it goes on to explain how anybody and everybody, how every living entity can come in contact with this divine love. It tells us of the kings who have gone to love God. It tells us of the sages. It tells us of those who are trying to be happy without him, the asuras. It tells us of the avatars, when the Lord descends in order to save everybody. It tells us of Vrindavan. The Srimad Bhagavatam is such a book of love that it will go into the deep science of love, as the 6 Goswamis have later pointed out. At every luxury detail, it explains how really in divine love we can reach the perfection of our existence. Explaining the neutral love, the servant's love, the friendship's love, the parental love, the conjugal love. Every little aspect of love is being explored in the realm of Lord Krishna's sweet will. But this is not the end of Lord Krishna's teachings. We got the whole Mahabharata. It's a treatise, an incredible treatise of relationships and the divine intervention in this world by Lord Krishna. Then we have the Ramayana, which is the story of love of Sita and Ram and all their devotees, which is just another one of those incredible love stories in this world. And then we go into the Vedas, the Puranas, and we find that there's instructions given as far as how one should be a responsible human being. In other words, the teachings of Lord Krishna, they embrace every aspect of life, even mathematics, astronomy, astrology. It embraces all. And when that happens, when you see that Lord Krishna is responding to the need of all human beings, we also find out that his world, Goloka Vrindavan, it is really being announced as the only real goal to achieve. So if there was a world where nobody dies, if there was a world where there's no egotism and misery created by one on the other, would you not want to go there right away? Would you not want to make that your definite and last stop of all the places you have visited? Or would you want to return to the world of misery because you are so attached to your sufferings in diverse forms? I don't think so. The reason people don't want to go to the world of love is because they don't want to give up their egotism. That is the real reason, the real confusion. They just don't want to give up their egotism. And that is really a very unfortunate situation. When we give up the world of egotism, then we become qualified to understand the world of love. So, the Bhajan Rahasya is giving us the confidential instructions how to see Krishna everywhere and all the time, and how to see Him, and how to relate to Him, under the precise instructions of the very sweet Shikshastaka of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We understand step by step how the holy name is the only saving grace, how humility and service is the most important aspect, how one should not aspire for anything personal anymore, but put one's destiny into the hand of the loving Lord. Then you go on and you go to the deeper understandings of the loving relationship, dependence, service in separation, giving up all types of antagonism and pride, to simply become a recipient of the grace which is being distributed by Lord Chaitanya himself. So, the world of love is extending itself towards us. It's a tangible reality. Right here where we are in a training camp for learning how to love in an appropriate way. And how do we put this into practice? Now, this will be the key instruction of today. How do you put this love into practice? By telling others about it. By preaching about the glories of Lord Krishna. Harikatha. This is how you put this love into practice. This is how you remain connected always with a sweet connection. Lord Krishna, He's so happy when you talk about Him. Can you imagine that? Now, let's say you walk by this window and all of a sudden you hear inside they said, "Oh, Dinadayal, he's such a nice devotee." And then Dinadayal is walking by and says, "Oh, they're talking about me. Let me listen what they're saying." They say, "Oh, I love Dinadayal. He's the best friend. He's always helping me. He's so kind with everyone. He loves to do service. He never speaks a lie. I always want to be with friends like Dina Dayal. If Dina Dayal listens to this from outside the window, his heart melts. How do they talk like this about me? Oh, this is so much love, because if you talk about somebody when he's not present, you're not obliged to talk about somebody, no? It is, you only talk about somebody because you feel some enthusiasm. Something is inspiring you, no? So, when I'm just making that comparison, if you hear that somebody talks about you with love, you're totally conquered. You say, who are these wonderful people? Why do they talk about me, who I'm just a little fool like this? Of course, if you hear, when you hear they say, oh, he's such a fool, I don't know how we can tolerate his presence anymore. Then your heart falls to the ground, yeah? Then you become so morose, you don't know what to do with your life anymore. So it's like from the highest feeling to the lowest feeling, all depending on what others say about you. How is that? Just by a few words, you can be elated, or you can be devastated. So now put yourself in a position of Lord Krishna, because from him everything comes. He is the Lord of love. He is the Supreme. He doesn't need our approval, but he is also a lover. And lovers love to be loved. He's so much a lover that he is the Lord of all lovers, the original of all lovers, and whatever little love you have in your heart, which I don't even think is that little, you got it from him, man. So if you got it from him, he got to have tons of it. And that means he responds to your love as well. He responds to everyone's love. He sees your sincere love towards somebody else as well. Krishna enjoys it when you lovingly lift up somebody from suffering. He's enjoying it right here and there. And what to speak if you lift up that person by talking lovingly about Krishna? You mean, I am not talking about Krishna to entertain Krishna. I mean, he doesn't need my entertainment. But when I preach to somebody to come to the world of love and come to the Lord of love because he's in the world of confusion and hate, I have a good reason to talk to him about love. And then the Lord of love is delighted. That's why he says, Ya idang paramanguyam madbhakte shabidashyati. Says, of all those, the dearest in this world is the one who talks about me, my message, my Gita, my illumination. And make sure to understand that nobody will ever be more dear to me than him. Therefore, we really have no other business except talking about him. Even when we started the spoon revolution, which is in one way focused exclusively on animal protection and vegetarianism, the real reason why we started that revolution is because then after people become vegetarians, we can also tell them the religious reasons. And when we tell them the religious reason for Krishna consciousness is that you love every living entity because they're part and parcels of Krishna. And Lord Krishna tells us you cannot love God if you hate the animals, or hate or kill the animals. You cannot love God and at the same time be cruel to other living entities. It's not possible. So the spoon revolution will finally reach people to understand that the highest principle of love is sanctioned by God and comes from God. Just the ethic of not nice to kill, not nice to cause pain, that ethic, which is kind of understandable to any reasonable person, that is simply not enough. And because of that, people very often just ignore it and say, okay, it's just for higher cause that we are killing. We are killing because we are feeding so many people with that. And they make so many justifications. But they forget that those justifications are actually not true. It's not necessary. There's many other ways to go about. As a matter of fact, instead of doing benefit to the world by feeding people with meat, they're just harming the world, harming them, harming the animals, harming everybody. So it is just a bogus concoction which has spread all around the planet and has gotten many, many, many adherents. And therefore the spoon revolution is a new way to denounce this mistaken understanding. But finally, unless we can glorify Lord Krishna and His love, then it will be just vegetarian consciousness, and elephants are vegetarians, rabbits are vegetarian, so many animals are vegetarian, but we are not preaching that we should become a bull or we should become a kangaroo because they're vegetarians. So therefore, Lord Krishna is our real star. And we wish to serve Him with all our heart. We wish to become servants of His message. We know He delights when we talk about Him. That's why we talk about Him every morning and every night, and sometimes in between. Vrindavan, what is Vrindavan all about? Vrindavan is about talking about Krishna. This tree is the Kadamba tree. This is the favorite tree of Lord Krishna, because it is Radharani's representative. This tree is the Tamal tree. This is Radharani's favorite tree, because the Tamal tree is black and resembles Krishna. This tree is the Pipal tree. He represents Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And every one of his leaves looks like a heart, but the most sensitive heart of love which the Lord has for every living being. This tree is the Neem tree. It's a sacred tree representing Nimai, who was born under a Neem tree, who is Lord Chaitanya, who's Radha and Krishna in one person. We can see in every bush, in every little Govardhan, we can see the presence of Vrindavan. We can see that the Lord of Love is here. Then we see this temple. It was started by the Maharaj of Dinajpur for the Lord. And there is the talking palm standing right in the courtyard, who talked to the constructors to please not cut her, because she was doing bhajan in this place. And that's why they changed all the temple plans, left the palm, and and just put the shrine in front, so the palm can have darshan every day of the Lord. Then this temple right next here, that was constructed by the king of Tripura. Then over there, there's the 64 samadhis. This is where the great souls of Vrindavan are in their eternal bhajan, absorbed. Everywhere in Vrindavan you find a reason to talk about Krishna and his pure devotees. Under this tree, Krishna was playing the flute. On this tree, Krishna was sitting with the cloth of the gopis. Under this tree, he was playing with Krishna and Balaram in the sands of the Ramanreti. Under this tree, and under this creeper, and in this bower, and in this kunja, everywhere Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. This is the Seva Kunja. This is the Yoga Pit. This is the Gyan Gudri. This is the Jagannath Mandir. This is the Madan Mohan Mandir. It is only Krishna here and Krishna there and Krishna everywhere, and talk about Krishna and think about Krishna and chant about Krishna and eat prasadam and take charanamrita about Krishna and offer your obeisances to Krishna, and there's another sadhu, offer your obeisances again, and wait a second, here is another Govardhan stone, but again you offer your obeisance, and in the backside is a tulasi plant, and now you offer your obeisances, and there's the river Yamuna where Krishna was swimming, and offer your obeisances and make your puja, and then you go around the corner and there comes a pure devotee with his kirtan and with 300 disciples chanting down the street and down on the ground in the dandavat, and oh my Lord, he's coming here through his devotees chanting, and then you go around the corner and you hear the bells ringing, somebody's just opening the door of the altar to his Ishtadev, and again my dandavats, oh my Lord, you are here in this house also, and then the other side you hear the Shastras are being recited, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and you know, oh, my Lord is being glorified here. Let me go there. Let me sit a few minutes with the sadhus. Let me show appreciation for their practice of speaking Harikatha, who are so graciously. And then you say, oh, today we are going to Mansarovar to celebrate this most beautiful lake, this most beautiful place of Krishna's memories. Oh, and then we do a little bit tapasya. We are walking barefoot around Govardhan because this is the holy mountain lifted by Lord Krishna. It pains a bit after a while, but this is nice tapasya. Even those blisters under your feet, they are very conducive to bhakti, finally, because you can remember, oh, here I had a nice walk and thinking about Govardhan, Govardhan, Giri, Giri, Govardhan, and then you go here, everywhere is a temple, everywhere is a sadhu, everywhere you sound the sound of a bell, and then you say, hey, but what about the speakers and the dirts and the asses and the hogs and this and that? Oh, come on. Don't waste my time, huh? Don't talk about such external things which simply are appearances, or let's say they may be the test of the age of Kali to see whether we really want to remember Krishna. Because even if you go to the most embellished and polished temple, you will find something to criticize. You may say, oh, here's so many people, you cannot move. Then you go another temple, oh, this temple, nothing happens. It seems to be like that, huh? There's nobody. I guess they only have a paid pujari here. So if you want to find something wrong, you go anywhere. You find anywhere some reason to say, I don't think this is it, huh? But what is it? I hope you are it. I hope you are His. Because He is the enjoyer, He is the controller, He is the Lord of love, and He is the supreme proprietor of every living entity. So He's the owner of Nandafalfa, He's the owner of Varshana, He's the owner of Gauranga Radhika Gopinath, He's the enjoyer and supreme controller of Panama and all what will happen there for Krishna. There's nobody can say, oh, I don't belong to him. I have nothing to do with Krishna. Leave me alone, please. No, not accepted. Not in Vrindavan. Maybe in Wall Street. People say, this is not Krishna's, this belongs to us, the community of the Wall Street. Forget about it, One little wind Krishna sends there and that whole thing flies into pieces, forget about it, The city of sin tonight, the city of disaster tomorrow, We've just seen it a few days ago when the waters came into New Orleans, we are not the owner of everything. Before the Lord, we are simply dependent. We can only cry out for help. And then they're sitting on the roof for 5 days crying out for help, and nobody has time to go there. They're all very busy in Wall Street counting their money, so they can't go and pick up a few poor people who are sitting in the floods. So this is the material world. This is the karma. This is this world of anxiety where you are suffering the consequences of your own misdeeds. Come on, wake up and go to the world of love. Go there one way. Don't take any side turns into the confusion world. You already seen it all. You've already heard it all. But the one thing you have not yet experienced is pure love. And pure love is really, that's what it's all about.